everyone, and welcome back to Exposing SMG. This is part 3 of my coverage on Prince Harry's new memoir, or as I like to call it, a memoir, Spare. Check out part 1 where we talked about his physical fight with Prince William, and part 2 where we discussed 5 bombshells that Harry revealed, mainly showing us that he is embarrassingly very jealous of William and Kate Middleton. Harry even goes as far as to refer to William as both his beloved brother and arch nemesis. Can you imagine going through everything with your brother, having your older brother look after you as you stated countless times, and dealing with the press together, the death of your mother, only for him to brand you as your arch nemesis in public? Harry continues to stoop lower as we cover 7 more bombshells in Spare. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe for more, comment down below what you think, and if you want us to continue our Spare coverage. Number 1. William and Catherine were big Suits fans. Harry writes, "All this time I thought Willie and Kate might not welcome Meg into the family, but now I had to worry about them hounding her for an autograph." Does he even believe himself? They just embarrassingly keep proving to us that it was Meghan behind the pen and paper more so than Harry. Meghan has this issue where she knows she's not famous or relevant as her own entity, so she tries to project obsession on other people to prove her own self-importance and independence. Sorry to break it to you, Megs, I didn't even know what Suits was before this, and I'm sure that the future king and queen didn't either. And it's funny that she wants us to believe that she didn't know who the royal family was, but 2 incredibly popular senior royals knew who she was?
Sure, Jan.
William and Catherine said on a radio interview that their busy lifestyle and small children don't allow them to follow any scheduled weekly TV shows, and they'd prefer box sets instead. And if Harry's statement was true, why did it take them so long for Meghan to boast about it? We know she doesn't let an opportunity slip to remind us of her soap commercial and her 2015 women's speech. Hell, she couldn't even help herself from showing a Beyoncé text on Netflix. You're trying to tell me that she had the self-control to withhold information that her competition, the Prince and Princess of Wales, were actually big fans of her? Yeah, she has to suffer from something.
This is weirder than a 3-eyed billy goat in a flatbed truck in the middle of Manhattan.
Number 2. Harry considered getting married where his parents got married and where William and Catherine got married. Harry writes, "On our return from the trip, I rang Willie, sounded him out, asked his thoughts about where we might get married. I told him we were thinking of Westminster Abbey, and William said, no good, we did it there." To which Harry replies, right, how about St. Paul's? And William said, too grand, plus Pa and Mummy did it there. To which Harry said, yes, good point. So I don't really know what the point of including this little section in the book.
But you did this for what?
Why not?
Why?
Why not?
Why though?
I don't know what it's trying to prove, and at the same time, it's as if he's trying to paint himself as a victim. Poor Harry, he had to say no to wedding venues. And the fact that he was even considering William and Kate's location, and Charles and Diana's, refutes his claim on Netflix that he wanted a small wedding, but there was an exception for Diana's boy. He and Meghan definitely wanted the famous balcony kiss from Kate and William's wedding, and this excerpt proves his jealousy and delusion. He then claims that, in fact, we wanted to explore, therefore in Botswana with maybe a friend officiating. That was our dream, but we were expected to share this moment with other people. It wasn't up to us. I don't get it. How do you go from wanting a grand wedding at William and Kate's venue to now talking about being barefoot in Botswana? Like, you can't have both. You can't have the grand wedding and at the same time be the humble prince. And it's such a lie, because if he wanted a private wedding, he could have had it. If they wanted a simplistic and humble barefoot wedding in Botswana, why was there a big issue with Meghan's diva demands of a certain tiara, a dramatic 16 feet long veil, and so much more? Number 3. Harry got offended about what William thought about his beard for the wedding day. Seems like he's just gonna complain about everything, including what he had for breakfast. He writes that he wanted to keep his beard for his wedding, and he got approval from his grandmother, the Queen. But then he details this dramatic story about William. "He wouldn't let it go," Harry wrote. "At one point, he actually ordered me, as the heir speaking to the spare, to shave. Are you serious?" Harry told his brother that his opinion didn't really matter, because he'd already got the tick of approval from Grandma Lizzie. "Finally, I told him flatly and defiantly that his bearded brother was getting married soon, and he could either get on board or not. The choice was to him." Oh my god. Oh my god. Imagine when you ask for someone's opinion and then you give them the opinion and then you start moaning about, is this because of the dynamic of this time and that time? Sweetheart, that's not what's going on here. And it's funny because this is how I imagine the convo went down. Willie, should I keep the beard or shave for my wedding? Do what you want, but I think shaving for the wedding is more appropriate. And then Harry proceeds to throw a bitch fit because that's what this sounds like. Number 4. Harry claims that William was jealous of his Invictus Games idea. In another excerpt from the book, instead of talking about how incredible it is that he did one good thing in his life with the Invictus Games, he goes on this whole tangent about how William was jealous of him for his idea. And his reasoning? William supposedly asked, where are we supposed to get the funds for this idea? He wrote that William appeared supremely irritated because William apparently claimed that it would drain funds from their foundation, to which Harry said that William's issue was absurd, and then blamed William's valid question of finances on their rivalry between brothers. Now guys, please contain yourselves while I read this excerpt because it's hilarious. I covered my eyes with my hands. Had we not gotten over that? All that stuff about the heir versus the replacement? Were we not a bit too old for that tiring childlike dynamic? Mind you, this is coming from the man-child who named his memoir Spare. He continues. He was married and had a baby on the way. Meanwhile, I would order food alone and do my dishes in front of the sink. My father's sink. I still lived with my dad. The game is over, man. You win. What the actual hell? Sweetheart, you don't live with your father in a one-bedroom apartment. You live in a palace. And guys, you do not want to go in business with someone like Harry, who's gonna gaslight you when you ask, where are you going to get the funds from? And if this would drain funds out and cause more expenses for us, which seems like a completely logical reasoning from William. And so for Harry to start gaslighting and projecting his own insecurity and jealousy on William, while complaining that William started a family, Harry was doing the dishes by himself. First of all, he has no reason to burden William with his own insecurity. It's not his fault that William found the love of his life in college and got on with his life and duty. And second of all, who even believes that the spoiled man does his own dishes? Or is this Meghan chiming in trying to make it seem like Harry had a humble upbringing, like she supposedly did? The whole thing is just unbelievable. Do you guys believe this? What do you think? Number 5. Meghan Markle asked for guidance at Princess Diana's grave, and then Harry left so she can have a private moment with his mother. Oh god, here we go again. I would say free Princess Diana from the shackles of Meghan Markle's obsession, but even in death, this woman can't catch a break. The worst part is that this happened on the 20th year anniversary of Diana's death, and Meghan and Harry weren't even engaged. This was August 2017, and according to Harry, they rode out to the island where his mother is buried on the 20th anniversary of her death, and after taking a moment to reflect by himself, he sensed that Meghan also wanted to take a private moment. Your girlfriend wanted a private moment with your mother? Someone she never met? You know, it was at this point that Meghan thought to herself, oh yeah, this is gonna be easy because his vulnerability and insecurity were present from the beginning. He writes, when I returned, she was on her knees with her eyes closed and her palms flat against the stone, adding that she told him she'd ask Diana for clarity and guidance. I'm sorry, but this story is just so creepy, and it makes me feel as if I'm reading a story about a stalker that manages to infiltrate a family and spread poison behind the walls. Oh wait. Number 6. Harry says that a woman with powers relayed a message from Princess Diana. On the topic of not letting his poor mother rest in peace, he's now making a mockery out of her for a check. I didn't know I was reading a Ouija board-based book. You're living the life she couldn't, Harry says the woman told him. You're living the life she wanted for you. And in the book, Harry doesn't describe this woman as a psychic or medium. She was just this rando that his friend suggested he'd go see. The minute we sat down together, he writes, I felt an energy around her. He says the woman told him she felt an energy around him too, and said, your mother is with you. Harry replied, I know, I felt that of late. The woman, he writes, told him that his mother was with him right now. Harry says his neck grew warm and his eyes watered. Then he claimed that the woman says, your mother says, something about a Christmas ornament? Of a mother? Of a grandmother? It fell? Broke? Harry said, Archie tried to fix it. The woman said, your mother says she had a bit of a giggle about that. Christmas ornament, he writes, was in the shape of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, which was accidentally smashed by Archie, or you know who else, and Princess Diana was apparently there for the moment, and she found it cute and funny. Plot twist, the woman is Meghan. But no, on a real note, Harry has publicized his pain and vulnerability so much, and he's such a huge public figure, anyone can lie to him and be like, your mother is with you. And actually, that's a very general statement and a sentence that anyone says to someone who suffered a loss. And it makes me sad because I see that people are taking advantage of him and he's letting them. And it's a shame, but there's only so much we can do as he is aiding in the destruction of everything else, his legacy, his family. And he's letting everyone else control his narrative. And at the end of the day, he looks bad. And if and when he divorces Meghan, there's going to be a lot of things in this book that she's going to use against him. But that is for another video. Let me know if you guys want a video on how this book can actually backfire on Harry in the event of a divorce. Number 7. Prince Harry shivered when he confronted the Queen's dresser about Meghan's tiara drama following up to the wedding. #TiaraGate. A war veteran shivering, discussing princesses and tiaras. You cannot make this up. Around the wedding, there was this whole big thing with the tiara, and in spare, Harry denies that he angrily told Angela Kelly, his grandmother's dresser, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets, in a clash over a tiara that the Queen lent to Meghan for the wedding. I still believe he said that statement because obviously he's going to deny it in his book, but there have been several different sources and royal biographers to write about this incident that they investigated. And Harry's book just shows us one thing: it gives credibility to the royal biographers because he's recalling stories that they already exposed. He's just recalling it from his lens, while the royal biographers have called it from a third point of view, aka an unbiased point of view. He says his mother's sisters had earlier offered Meghan one of Diana's tiaras, but shortly before the wedding, Harry says that the Queen reached out to them, offering Meghan access to her collection of tiaras. Harry says, she even invited us to Buckingham Palace to try them on. Do come over, I remember her saying. What unfolded, Harry says, was an extraordinary morning. They were shown into his grandmother's private dressing room, next to her bedroom, a place Harry had never been before. The Queen was standing alongside a jewelry expert who knew the history of each stone in the royal collection. So what I'm getting from this is that the Queen was, once again, more than welcoming to Meghan. Also in the room was Angela Kelly. Harry says that the Queen asked Meghan to view 5 stunning tiaras, including one with emeralds and other with aquamarines. The Queen then complimented Meghan and said, "Tiaras suit you." And for reference here, Catherine Middleton was only shown 3 tiaras. So again, this kind of adds that the Queen was actually welcoming and went out of her way to accommodate Meghan and kind of honor her in a way. After Meghan chose one, the Queen advised her to try the piece on with her hairdresser before the wedding day. But Harry says that when he tried to contact Miss Kelly later to get a hold of the tiara for the practice session, the dresser didn't respond. When he finally tracked her down, Miss Kelly told him taking the tiara out of the palace for an appointment with Meghan's hairdresser can't be done because it would require an orderly and a police officer to guard it. Harry, who admits to being exasperated, says Miss Kelly eventually appeared out of thin air at Kensington Palace to make him sign a release form before handing over the tiara. He writes, "She fixed me with a look that made me shiver. I could read in her face a clear warning. This isn't over." Okay, so let me get this straight. He's complaining about Miss Kelly being busy with her own job, and then he finally tracked her down, and he is frustrated that they couldn't just take the tiara unless there was obvious security for something that is worth millions? Again, does he hear himself? Also, James Price, Kate's hairstylist, came up with a unique concept for securing the tiara in Kate's hair, practicing ahead of the day with a cheap £6 tiara from Claire's Accessories. So if the future Queen of the UK can figure something out, I'm sure Meghan could have. He also fails to mention that Meghan wanted the green emerald tiara, which was actively reserved for Princess Eugenie, and Harry supposedly hit the roof when they were told it was impossible for her to wear it. I guess Meghan and Harry took out their anger at Eugenie's wedding when she and Harry announced that they were expecting guests. Something confirmed in Finding Freedom, the book Meghan and Harry orchestrated. And supposedly their behavior was so appalling, the Queen had to take Harry aside and put him in his place. So yeah, he didn't mention any of those convenient details. Well, this wraps up this video. Please let me know if you enjoyed it so I can keep covering Spare. There are a bunch of other crazy details exposed, so let me know if you guys want me to make more videos. Comment your thoughts, like and subscribe for more, follow us on our social media, and as always, I'll see you next time.